Hello and welcome to an episode of Crypto My God on the Road edition, coming to you from New York City. So today's idea came from a friend of a friend that I just sort of stumbled upon. This is a guy that I got introed from an AI developer that I work with, and this dude Hathbanger, just kind of coming out of left field, building something what I think is really cool on the Bitcoin blockchain. So that's not something you see every day. It's something I definitely want to focus on. Now, what we're looking at is this concept called Beatblocks. Very straightforward, beatblocks.io for anybody that wants to go check it out. And the idea is to put generative music or even loops and tracks directly into the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, Bitcoin, unlike a lot of the other chains, actually can store within their block space a variety of data. This is where the ordinal NFTs come from, and it really provides a capability to store smaller data files in this hyper-permanent way. Basically, these things will live as long as the Bitcoin blockchain does. So that's pretty fascinating to me. And this is an opportunity through experimentation to take some music for creators, for musicians, for people that like to work in the loops kind of territory, and not only just issue NFTs around their tunes, but to bake this into the most permanent data storage mechanism that I am aware of, the Bitcoin blockchain. So that's pretty fucking awesome. Now, how does it work? In a nutshell, we're looking at very loop-based music. So you do have to record and upload your components in these little chunks. If you want to do a single guitar riff, maybe a just on your drums, hit those hi-hats, hit those toms, but you're looking at storing microsegments. And the reason this works is because it only stores that one little chunk. Even though it knows to play it back and to remix it, that is a smaller amount of data just to store these little bits. For anyone that's familiar with GarageBand or Ableton Live, this is pretty straightforward and commonplace. Now let's just give a little gander into what's going on here, right? You've got 100% on-chain, so a pretty unique app. And to put this on the Bitcoin chain, I mean the chain of chains, right? It's secure and immutable. Once it goes on there, it's not coming off. It's not changing. It's there forever. The protocol, it's an open standard for developing generative music experiences, efficient file storage. Again, they utilize loops to only store the one looped clip. Playing it back is something that can be unpacked programmatically. And generative music, as we get into new kind of fun ways to allow the algorithm to remix your loops in many ways that you maybe didn't account for. So that's the beginning concept. Now, this is all rooted in a JSON file. People might be familiar with JSONs because that's how you back up a private key address. JSON is a file format for moving information between web databases. This is where your private keys are generally stored in a wallet, and they're at the very root of the Bitcoin blockchain and many other blockchains as well. So it's kind of fun. You're doing it all in these very native Bitcoin formats. So people that are familiar with interacting with Bitcoin might find some pieces that they actually understand and can connect with. Now they go over their efficiency, right? The idea behind the storage is this new Opus format, basically a smaller file size than an MP3. And we can see that an MP3 at 3.4 megs would be equivalent to 2 megabytes here. So you're looking at much nicer storage. Again, that's really important when you're trying to put it inside a Bitcoin block. Basically, you're storing it inside the memo space. This is something that was expanded on with the segregated witness update, which is basically saying taking all of the data that was used for signing information, moving that into a block in parallel with the Bitcoin blockchain, opening up block space for other things to be stored. Those first things were JPEGs, they were the ordinals. Those JPEGs turned into, JPEGs that come in 10,000 formats. So those become runes, which are basically fungible coins inside the Bitcoin blockchain. And a lot of fun and experimentation has happened. This is really the first app putting something a little more material like music onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And that's why I got excited. Now they go into the stem-based approach, and that's really about these loops. The power of stems is that you're going to be inscribing this data into the Bitcoin blockchain. So they took this approach that rather than doing entire songs, it inscribes music into repeatable stems that can be combined in countless ways. Again, you're uploading the minimal viable component of the songs, which is their basic loop chunks and their segments. But this does allow them to be rearranged in really crazy ways, to have dynamic playback and these interactive experiences where people can either chop and screw them or issue NFTs, right? That's what's kind of fun about it. So there is a cost estimator if you want to look at this, right? This is pretty useful if you're going to inscribe these to the Bitcoin blockchain. Basically a way to upload your loops and say is this going to break my bank or is it still fun? Now, I really quickly ran an experiment here. I went to filmmusic.io, which is just a Creative Commons space, and I downloaded chill vlog beats and I uploaded it to Beatbox. But quite frankly, There's just not much happening here. But my issue was that I uploaded a complete song, so it wasn't really something to chop and screw, and that's where I got stuck. So I'm going to have to wait till I get home. I'm going to plug in my guitar. I'm going to experiment with some things. However, they did do a Genesis mint on Magic Eden, so we can see what some of these outputs really look like. They got this sick waveform, and they're basically using the same loops, and they're minting all of these things to the Bitcoin blockchain. That's what you're actually buying here, is essentially an NFT song track. So let's just give it a look. All right, so you get a little bit of a gist. Let's pick another one. All right, so we can see some similar loops in there. I don't know if you quite get it coming through my audio, but like on my speaker, there was a lot of left-right speaker options, so it's actually kind of wonky and all over the place, but really fun. Let's just go for one third one last time, just so we can get a full flavor palette of what's going on here. I'll try something really flat and red. I've been going for textural and spiky. Maybe this is going to be a little different. So while it's kind of novel and far out, I mean, it's still one of the more interesting things I've seen being built on blockchain in a while, especially on the Bitcoin blockchain itself, which is always a refreshing treat. Like, yeah, it looks a lot like an art project, but isn't that kind of where these things are incepted from, right? These virtuous projects built by people who want to see a tool for their own utility. And Hathbanger, you know, the developer who I found, he is a musician, he is a recording artist, and there's a ton of really fun optionality on their website, right? I think that their logo with this record, with this press vinyl, super cool idea. I mean, who knows where this stuff goes? But people are already interacting with it, and we can see some more complex layouts kind of in how they made their Genesis collection. So with that being said, I mean, while the markets are going crazy, while the world burns, at least there's some fun tools out there that are being built and some baby steps to grow more robust products. Who knows if there will be utility behind this, but it would be really cool to see someone of notoriety just offer a bit of an ownership economy to their fans through this nature. So I hope that was enjoyable for you. If you're a musician, by all means, go check it out. Easy to find. I will, of course, put a link in the descriptions. And as always, guys, good luck, and I will see you tomorrow.